Are you a student taking up philosophy of social science? Before you start with the course, it is important to familiarize yourself with the following terms and methodologies. Understanding these will make it easier to engage with and retain the new concepts, thereby accelerating your learning. Autonomy of a science. The claim that a discipline, like sociology, has its own methods and explanations, independent from more fundamental sciences such as psychology or biology. Behaviorism. A psychological theory that explains behavior only in terms of observable stimulus-response conditioning, excluding mental states. Biological reductionism. The attempt to explain social or psychological behavior entirely through biology or genetics. Causation. The relationship between events where one brings about the other. In social science, often debated whether reasons and intentions count as causes. Collective consciousness. Durkheim's idea that societies have shared beliefs and values that exist beyond individuals. Constructivism. Social construction. The view that many social phenomena, e.g., money, laws, institutions, exist only because people collectively believe in them. Critical theory, a school of thought that critiques social structures of power and domination, aiming at emancipation, inspired by Marxism and the Frankfurt School. Darwinian social science, sociobiology, using evolutionary theory and natural selection to explain human behavior and social institutions. Deontology, an ethical theory from Kant, emphasizing duties and moral rules rather than consequences. Deductive nomological model, covering law model. The view that scientific explanations work by deducing events from laws and initial conditions. Eliminative materialism. The idea that common-sense psychology, beliefs, desires, intentions is false and should eventually be replaced by neuroscience. Epistemology. The branch of philosophy concerned with the nature, scope, and justification of knowledge. Functionalism. A theory explaining social practices or institutions in terms of the functions they perform. For example, religion maintains social cohesion. Folk psychology. Common sense framework of explaining human action using beliefs, desires, and intentions. Hermeneutics, the interpretive approach to understanding human actions by analyzing meaning, symbols, and cultural rules. Holism, the view that social phenomena should be explained at the level of groups, institutions, or structures rather than individuals. Individualism, methodological. The belief that social phenomena must be explained by the choices and actions of individuals. Intentionality. The aboutness of mental states. Beliefs and desires are always about something. Intentionality versus extensionality. Distinction in logic. Intentional statements depend on meaning or context, while extensional ones depend only on reference. Law-like generalizations, statements in science that express regularities, for example, laws of physics. Social science is often criticized for lacking these. Logical connection argument. Claim that reasons cannot be causes because they are conceptually connected to actions, not causally linked. Macrosociology, the study of large-scale social structures such as institutions, classes, or entire societies. Moral philosophy, ethics, branch of philosophy examining what is right, fair, or just. In social science, often linked to research choices and policy implications. Naturalism, the view that social sciences should adopt the same empirical, law-seeking methods as natural sciences. Normativity, concern with values, obligations, and what ought to be, rather than just describing what is. Prediction versus intelligibility debate. Should social sciences aim to predict behavior, like natural sciences, or to make it intelligible by understanding meaning? Prisoner's dilemma, a game theory model showing the tension between individual rationality and collective cooperation. Rational choice theory explains actions as outcomes of individuals maximizing preferences under constraints. Reductionism, the attempt to explain social phenomena entirely in terms of more basic sciences, psychology, biology. Reflexive predictions. Predictions in social science that may fail because once people know them, they change their behavior. Scientific realism versus instrumentalism. Realism claims scientific theories describe reality. Instrumentalism sees them as mere tools for prediction. Social facts. Durkheim's term for societal patterns, laws, norms, customs that influence individuals. Structuralism, an approach emphasizing underlying structures, e.g., language, myths, that shape human behavior in culture. Teleology, explaining phenomena by reference to purposes or goals. For example, the heart exists in order to pump blood. Utilitarianism, ethical theory, Mill, that actions are judged by their consequences for overall happiness. Value-free science. The contested idea that science, including social science, can be conducted without moral or political values influencing it. Normativity, the study of norms, rules, values, standards, or expectations, and how they govern human behavior, reasoning, and institutions. In social science, this refers both to the study of norms within society, for example, social norms, and the role of values in the scientific process itself, for example, objectivity. Naturalism, the view that social sciences should be continuous with the natural sciences in terms of methodology, explanatory structure, and subject matter. Methodological naturalism holds that social science methods should imitate natural science methods. Reductionism, The philosophical position that entities or phenomena of one kind, e.g. social structures, can be completely explained, defined, or accounted for by entities or phenomena of another, more basic kind, e.g. individual actions. The main debate here is methodological individualism versus holism. Supervenience. A relation between two sets of properties, A and B, such that no change can occur in the A properties without a corresponding change in the B properties. In social science, the claim is often that social properties supervene on individual properties. A change in a social fact requires a change in the individuals that constitute it. Action explanation. A form of explanation in social science that accounts for an individual's behavior by citing the reasons, beliefs and desires, that motivated the action, often contrasted with a purely causal explanation. Instrumental rationality. The form of reasoning where an agent chooses the most effective and efficient means to achieve a given end, desire, or goal. This is the core assumption in standard economic and game-theoretic models. Game theory, a mathematical framework for analyzing strategic interactions among rational agents, where each agent's outcome depends on the choices of all other agents. Utility, a measure of the relative satisfaction or preference an agent derives from a particular outcome. Rational agents are assumed to choose actions that maximize expected utility. Nash equilibrium, a key solution concept in game theory. It is a set of strategies where no player can improve their outcome by unilaterally changing their own strategy, assuming the other players keep their strategies unchanged. Prisoner's dilemma, a classic game theory scenario illustrating why two purely rational individuals might not cooperate, even when it is in their collective best interest to do so. Stag hunt, a game theory scenario illustrating the problem of coordination where the best collective outcome requires both parties to coordinate and trust each other. Interpretive methodology, a family of approaches often associated with anthropology and sociology that views the goal of social science as understanding the meaning of social actions and practices from the point of view of the agents involved, rather than merely predicting behavior. Verstehen? You know, the most social sciences are in German, a concept popularized by Max Weber, referring to the empathetic or subjective understanding of the meaning behind human actions, serving as a distinct form of knowledge in the social sciences. Thick description, a term from Clifford Geertz's anthropology. It is a description of a human action that not only records the action itself, but also includes the context, intention, and meaning that gives the action its significance. That is, distinguishing a twitch from a wink. Construct validity, a term from Clifford Geertz's anthropology. It is a description of a human action that not only records the action itself, but also includes the context, intention, and meaning that gives the action its significance, e.g., distinguishing a twitch from a wink. Causal modeling methodologies, like those using Bayesian networks, that use statistical tools and graphical representations to infer causal relationships between variables, distinguishing mere correlation from true cause and effect.
Case study. An intensive analysis of an individual unit, person, group, event, or institution over a period of time. In the philosophy of science, the debate concerns whether case studies can genuinely be used to test or build general theories. Extrapolation. Methodological individualism. The thesis that all social phenomena, their nature and their structure, are only intelligible if they are described and explained solely in terms of the properties, actions, and relations of individual agents. Social holism. The opposing thesis that social phenomena, like social classes, institutions, or cultures, are ontologically distinct from and cannot be fully reduced to the properties and relations of individuals. Social facts may determine or constrain individual actions. Collective intentionality. The concept that two or more individuals can share a goal or intention, forming a we intention that is not simply the sum of individual intentions. This is crucial for explaining cooperative behavior and institutions. Social norms are unwritten rules of behavior that are accepted and expected within a social group. They are typically enforced through social sanctions, approval or disapproval, and are essential subject of study in social science. Institution. A structured, relatively enduring set of rules, roles, and expectations that govern behavior within a particular social setting, e.g., marriage, the educational system, the banking system. Looping effect of social kind. The idea that when a social kind, for example, being gay or having multiple personality disorder, is scientifically classified and defined, that definition can feed back and change the behavior or self-understanding of the people being classified, altering the kind itself. If you find this helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.